Alright, this ticks me the heck off because I have my video interrupted. So I have to start it all over, and I had like almost 14 minutes going with my drivel. But I'm making a YouTube video today about Yankee Marshall, a gun YouTuber. I'm mad now. God bless me. Because I've got to recap all this junk that I already said. Anyways, so about Yankee Marshall, I was just pointing out that I've been aware of him for a long time. He's a gun YouTuber. In his defense, I watch his videos about as much as probably any other YouTuber there is. He's a good talker. He's eloquent. Everything I'm not. That's why my YouTube channel stinks. He's interesting to watch. So I'll get that out of the way first. But I've never liked him personally, and I don't like his see this annoying face. I don't like his personality, and there's people on the internet that they just want to annoy you. I've always been aware of this, and it always just really, I hate those people. Like, you go in any chat room, any message board, whatever, there's always going to be people that are they just exist to try to annoy you. And I hate those people. And I feel like Yankee Marshall is one of those people, look at this face, what the frick is this? This just makes me want to punch him in his face. This is not funny, this is not cute. All you're trying to do is be annoying and look stupid, I can make a stupid face and get up in your face too, Yankee Marshall. I bet you wouldn't like it, you obnoxious son of a gun. But anyway, so that's kind of why, the main reason I don't like him. He has a really weird sense of humor, as evidenced by these pictures and stuff. And I don't like it. I think he's a bad person, basically. But I guess he's been involved in some drama lately, with some other YouTubers. I didn't even know about it till yesterday, but I guess one of these YouTubers, Johnny B, basically, who's over here in the sidebar actually, basically it made a video, said in the chat or something, and somehow got back to Yankee Marshall that he was saying he doesn't really give away all these guns and this and that. So Yankee Marshall was vehemently out there saying, oh yeah, I do give away all these guns and these people are full of it, and let's look at all this I give away, blah 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 blah. So I had a few main thrusts of points to make it at Yankee Marshall. And like I said, it's going to be mostly critical of him, even though, hypocritically enough, I do watch his videos. I'm trying to be honest about it. I hope if he ever saw this video or whatever, he could get, I want to be, I like to be, if there's somebody I don't like, I like to admit what is good about him too, So I'll be up front. I don't like Yankee Marshall, because for one thing, on a gun note, he likes revolvers, which have their place, but they can't compete with a Glock. He doesn't like Glocks, which are the best gun in the world. I'm sorry, they are. I often make the point that if I could just have one gun out of all my guns, which one would I keep? It would be my Glock 19, because it's boring as heck. I don't even like shooting it. It's so boring. But it's a gun, it's a pistol, which would be a prerequisite for the only gun you keep in a zombie apocalypse or something, so you can carry it around easy, and you can carry it around other people without them necessarily knowing, which you cannot do those things with a rifle. Even for home defense, a pistol is just so much better. You have more maneuverability. You can keep it under your bed, or on your bedstand much easier. You can get to it much quicker. How are you going to get to a rifle? You're laying down in a prone position unless it's next to you. Even then, you have to lift it up and aim it correctly. Whereas a pistol, you just grab and there you are. It's in your hand. You shoot it. Imagine any rifle. Where's that going to go? Let's say you're laying in bed and you want to be ready to just pop out of bed as soon as you hear something or something. And, maybe you've got the door locked or whatever. Well, a rifle is going to be hard to grab. It's going to be hard. It's going to have to be laying in a parallel position next to the bed. Everything, you can't put it on a nightstand per se, unless it's a big nightstand. It's just so much better to have a pistol in most cases. Now, granted, a rifle is going to be much better in certain cases, like hunting or, raw power, but overall, a pistol is going to be better for most situations that humans exist in, because we're humans and we're social and we're always around each other and so on and so forth. Anyways, So yeah, so that's some reason I don't like him in gun senses. I mean, I just don't like his personality. I already got that out there. I don't like his annoying persona, like this stupid face. Like, what is this? You know, he's just trying to be annoying, and I hate that type of person on the internet. But yeah. So he doesn't like Glocks. He likes, and that's fine. You know, I like revolvers too. They're awesome. You know, in their way, in their place. You know, which is like camping, hunting. You know. As a curiosity, as an antique, you know, as a very reliable gun, you know. But I'm sorry they can't compete with like a Glock. You know, same reason like why, if you're fighting bear, you know, you want a 20 round or 15 round Glock 20 10mm more than you want like a 454 Castle revolver, because that revolver you ain't getting off a second shot very easy. And you're getting off 15 shots at 10mm easy, you know, which, yes, each round is going to be a little less powerful, but overall, you know, Glock 20 be far superior for, you know, if I had to pick one handgun that's, you know, I'd take the Glock 20 all day against a bear. But anyways, in self-defense, same thing. The problem with the revolver is it's hard to get the lead out, you know. It has limited lead to get out because the capacity is very limited. You know, there's downside that people don't see, you know. They only see the upside that it's more reliable. Yeah, that's probably true, but even that could be a little bit arguable. I mean, my Glock might as well be 100% reliable, to be honest, you know. The odds of any given shot failing on my Glock are basically zero. You know, I don't know if my Glock's less reliable than a revolver. I really don't. Anyways, but okay, let's go back to him. And so, first of all, I just want to point out a couple of key hypocrisies here from Yankee Marshall. So his whole video starts out with, oh, you know, so Donnie B accused me that I don't really give away guns. I'm not really charitable. So here's all this proof that I'm charitable. First thing I thought was funny. It's just a little aside. So he's talking about, well, you know, it's funny because when I got this message that he was talking crap about me, I was actually in the midst of buying 4 guns to give away to my subscribers or whatever he does with them. Probably his Patreons. I don't know. And they're Ruger EC9S, he says in there. Well, I mean, I just thought that was funny because those are the cheapest guns. A Ruger EC9 literally costs $200. So for 4 of them, it'd be like $800. I just thought that was funny. I'm sorry. That's just funny. He's talking about how generous he is. He's talking about how much money he gives away. He's buying the cheapest gun out there. Now, is it cheap junk? No. The Ruger, you know, it'll work. And you know, I'm a big fan of Ruger. And the EC9 is a perfectly fine gun and a great value for $200. But I just thought it was funny that he's, oh, look how charitable, look how generous I am. And you're buying the cheapest gun practically on the market. You know, sort of a high point. Just thought that was funny. Neither here nor there. Granted, he was buying 4 of them. You know, I get it. I'll take his side. I'm not going to argue from his side. But I just thought it was funny that he was buying the cheapest, lowest end, you know, gun imaginable. And this was just proof of how generous he is. But let's forget. And I don't know how many of these are like giveaways and things like that. In which case, he's promoting his own channel, really. You know, if you do a thing like, oh, I'm going to give away a gun. Well, what you really want is everybody subscribe to subscribe to my channel because I'm only giving it subscribe. I don't know how much of that he does and how much is like actual charity because there's a difference. You know, most big YouTubers do these giveaways and stuff, but they're trying to. It's more of an investment in their channel. It's not charity. You know, I'll spend $500 for a gun to give away, and hopefully down the line I'll get enough extra subscribers and stuff because I'll make it where only subscribers can win, and you know, and all these people may subscribe to me because they're hoping to win the gun, and this that you know you're hoping to make make more back on your $500 investment in growing your channel over the long term, of course. So I don't know how much of these guns he gives away are like giveaways or what, but I wanted to point out a couple other things real quick. Excuse my early morning yawn. I'm an insomniac and I never sleep. So I usually wake up, quote unquote, tired as crap. It sucks, but So I wanted to make another point is that he rakes in a lot of money. If you look, it's all about his Patreon, okay? And he's got 3 tiers. So let's just quick and dirty say everybody averages $5. I don't know what his actual average Patreon is. It might be $6, it might be $3, it might be $9. It's probably more than 5 to be honest. It's the midpoint. There's 3 tiers, but some people probably donate more than these amounts. You know what I mean? But let's just. Oh, he has a 4th level too. So he has a $20 tier. Anyway, so let's just say he's averaging $5 per Patreon, which is probably conservative. It's probably more. So he's times about roughly $1,500. So he's making $7,500 a month off his Patreon. You do the math on that, it's like $90,000 a year. That's a good job. You know, that's a real good job. You know, that's like I don't know. That's like really, you know, what I'm trying to think of like an average job that would make 90 a year. I don't know, a principal of a school, maybe something like that. You know, a programmer. I know that like top Google and Facebook programmers in big expensive markets make more than 90 a year. They can make close to $500,000 a year. But 90 a year is like, especially like where I'm from, rural area, etc., is a real good job. You know, there's lots of people scraping by in 15, 20 a year, working at McDonald's and stuff. You know, so he's making 90,000 a year, and I'm assuming he's retired and had some kind of normal job and everything. So it's not like this income is his only income. You know, he's probably pulling a pension and whatever else, and Social Security, and you know, or he just maybe has a job now. I don't even know. So you know, this is all on top of his whatever his normal income is, I'm sure. Although this is probably his principal income at this point because it's so much, you know, he can afford to do that. So 90 grand a year at least he's making off his Patreon. Okay, this is in addition to any sponsorships or whatever he may have. Which he says no sponsorships, I think. But I want to make this key point though. I watched this video, and one of his big attacks on everybody else, oh, they're all about the money, they're all about Amazon. You know, hypocrite. You're a hypocrite, Yankee Marshall. Because you know what and he even goes to another video and he shows like, look, when you click on their description, you see it's all this Amazon, buy this. It's all about money for these guys. What's on his channel, you idiot? What's on your channel, you idiot? What's front and center for you? Is it your charity? Is it nothing? Is it, you know, support the Second Amendment? You know, oh, let's go here. Look, what's first on his channel? Oh, Patreon, Yankee Marshall, give me money. Here's my hand, give me money. Give me money, give Yankee Marshall money. Give me money. Here's my Patreon, give me money. So that's my point with all these guys. This is my point with almost everybody in the world. The number one hypocrisy in the world is, oh, you're being greedy, point the finger. When everyone is greedy, I'm greedy, you're greedy, Yankee Marshall's greedy. You know, I'm sorry. I get so tired of this. You know, it's the one of the number one hypocrisies I see in the world at large, period. Is everyone, especially in America where we're real anti-capitalist nowadays and corporations are the bad guys, everyone's always calling, and I follow gaming, if you know my channel. You know, my channel is just, we'll talk about whatever, but a lot of it's guns or gaming. You know, it's two of the main things, or technology, but tech reviews. But gaming is one of the big things I'm into. And everybody in gaming is always criticizing these corporations, like, oh, they're so greedy, they're trying to make money off you doing this, they're trying to make money. It's constant and overwhelming in the gaming community, you know. Oh, they're charging you $5 for this expansion pack when it should be free because it's not that much content. You know, just this constant stream of they're so greedy, it should be free, you know, blah, blah, blah. But all of these people would behave the same way if they were doing the same thing. My point is, everybody is greedy. So Yankee Marshall says and points the finger. You're greedy. You got Amazon links in your channel. Oh, well, what's the top link? You know, like I said, is it a charity? Is it, Second Amendment Foundation? No, it's give me money. Put money in my hands. I like money. You know, I just wanted to point out that hypocrisy from the Yankee Marshall. He's all about Patreon, and he'll never tell you that. He'll talk about the greed of him. And, you know, he probably, because again, this is a hypocrisy of people. They always want to make what they're doing righteous and what somebody else is doing not righteous. So he would probably frame it as, I know he would frame it as, because again, he gets up there and tells you he's a good person and these other people are bad and, all this nonsense. That's what his whole video is. These people that don't like me are bad and I'm good, and, look at them, they're greedy, and, hey, give me money on my Patreon, by the way, I'm not greedy, here's my hand, give me $10 on my Patreon. So yeah, and then, I kind of lost my train of thought. It's the problem with not having any script. So yeah, I just want to point out everybody is greedy. And I'll give you another good example of Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is real liberal. He's real left wing. By nature, those guys should kind of hate capitalism. But Amazon is the greediest company in the world. They paid their workers an extra $2 an hour for COVID, but they only did it for like 2 months or a month, and they cut it off, after like that month or whatever. And he receives a lot of criticism because Amazon's stock price is skyrocketing, and he's worth hundreds of billions. And people were like, so you can't afford to pay your employees an extra $2 an hour? Meanwhile, your net worth has gone up like, $100 billion in the last month or whatever, however much it was. And, I'm a capitalist through and through, and about as right-wing as you get. But, they've kind of got a little bit of a point there. But especially because Jeff Bezos is a huge hypocrite, because he's a big liberal. And how you be a big liberal in your personal life, but in your business life, you understand that, there's business, and, you can't afford to pay everybody $70 an hour or whatever, I don't understand. It's hypocritical. And same thing with, so yeah, that's not, like one of the number one hypocrisies I see, especially in America. We're trained to hate corporations, hate capitalism. It's so hypocritical. Everybody wants to point the finger at the other guy. He's greedy, but they don't understand that they're greedy. So, so I was gonna say Yankee Marshall would probably frame it as Patreon is somehow better because it's the people supporting. Bull hockey. If Yankee Marshall could make more money doing something else, he would be doing that yesterday. I promise you that. He would be, if he could make twice as much doing Amazon links, he'd have Amazon links all over his channel yesterday. So don't listen to any of that. I don't see how Patreon is somehow better. In a way, I was thinking probably the Amazon links are better, because I was thinking that before I made this video. Because the Amazon links, at least, he's not directly grifting off you. He's not directly begging for a handout. He's saying, here's some stuff you might want to buy. Please buy it from these links and you'll help me out. But at least if I go to the Amazon link, I'm getting something I want. Maybe I'm getting a product I want. And to me, that's a little morally superior to just, hey, let me give you a handout, buddy. I don't know. That's just me. It's the same thing with yeah, I don't know. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure Yankee Marshall, because he wants to make himself look good, he's going to say that somehow Patreon is pure and, not corrupt. But, like I said, to me, I think Amazon links or whatever are probably better, because at least I can maybe get some use out of those one day instead of just you begging for a handout, But like I said, front and center, his number one link. You don't even have to hit show more. Patreon. Download to my Patreon. Top thing. Like I said, is it Second Amendment Foundation? Is it an animal charity? Not quite. So it's good he gives a charity or whatever. But I'm sure all YouTubers do. But so let me go to the other things I want to criticize him. This is already an 18-minute video. He is kind of liberal, okay? He'll never admit it, but he is. Which I guess, I would never support liberals or say it's a good thing, but I guess maybe you need that one liberal guy. You know what I mean? Like, I would never support liberals, but sometimes, especially one that's, intellectually pure, I can sort of, there's very few. One thing that disgusts me about liberals nowadays is they're all such hypocrites, and they don't really stand for anything. But I can kind of respect that rare liberal that's like a liberal in every aspect of his life, that honestly believes this stuff and is consistent about it. I'm trying to think of examples. like kind of like the way the ACLU is in theory, where they'll fight for a gun owner just as much as they will for a lesbian transgender that's being discriminated against or whatever. I mean, I don't think the ACLU even supports gun owners anymore. But, at some point the ACLU was they had their principles, and I can respect that to a certain extent, even when it's the opposite side. But there's very few liberals like that, especially anymore. I mean, anymore it's 99% scum on that side. You don't have any real values, and just, they're just left-wingers. And, they'll say, like, they'll be anti-censorship when it comes to one of their own getting censored, but they're pro-censorship in every other aspect, that kind of thing. I can sort of understand the liberal that's, like, anti-censorship, and that's what, and he's consistent about it, but very few of them are. But anyway, so what were we talking about? Yankee Marshall and his Patreon and his gimme money and his $90,000 at least a year. He's kind of liberal. I mean, some of his earlier videos, I think he voted for Trump, but barely, which I'm no Trump fan myself, but that's because Trump's an idiot, Trump is always, to me, just he's better than the alternative we got, he's better than the Democrat. That's all you can say about him. He's not good. But yeah, so Yankee Marshall's kind of liberal, and he really proved it lately. And what he did was he basically expressed sympathies. He won't say it, but he did. For Antifa, Black Lives Matters, all that. Which is nonsense, because Black Lives Matters, okay, we all support the cause, but the problem with them is that they're fundamentally wrong about what they're complaining about, because there's not systemic racism in the United States. I'm sorry. Or there is, of course. It's impossible to say there isn't. But it's on all sides, and here's the thing. You can't, our deep systemic racism. That's a way of not talking about specifics. I saw a great tweet from, I think, Ben Shapiro. I'm not a huge fan of Ben Shapiro either, but it said, the whole talking about systemic racism, you're talking about something you can't pin down. He said, show me the racist policy. Show me the racist law. Show me the racist person. And we'll do so, of course. Alexa, stop. My alarm. Show me the racist thing and we'll work against it. But you can't just talk in some vague terms. Oh, the systemic racism. And wave your hand, It's not specific. You can't. There's no racist laws anywhere in the United States. There's no law that says, black people aren't allowed to do this, but white people are. People would go crazy if there was. So, it's hard to call systemic racism, in my opinion. Another thing is police brutality and all that. Yes, there are bad police. Yes, it happens. Yes, it's terrible. It happens against white people, too. Look up the case of, I don't remember his name, but there's a white guy who's the worst police shooting I've ever seen by far. Just horrible. Just makes your skin crawl. And worse than George Floyd, But, nobody talks about it because he's white. I forget his name. Daniel Bradford or something. I bet you put Daniel police shooting in Google and it'll bring it up and it'll just make your skin crawl. It's this guy they just gunned down, and the shooter kept screaming at him, put your hands down and don't move, and then he would give him conflicting things, and he kept screaming, I'm going to shoot you right now if you don't do this. And he thought the guy was going for the gun, supposedly, so he shot him. And this guy was a jerk, and he ended up getting a pension, too. I can't believe this. But anyway. So back to Yankee Marshall. He's kind of liberal. He doesn't want to admit it, but every once in a while he steps in it. And then he's scared because the thing he doesn't want to lose is his Patreons, because that's his money, because he's greedy. Just like everybody else. So he back talks it every time he starts losing some Patreons. That's what he cares about. And another stupid thing is he says, I wanted to call this out. He said in one of his videos, I don't care about subs. I don't care about, look at me, I'm so great. I'm the one person on YouTube that doesn't care about how many subs I have. BS, you moron. This is the guy who, like everybody else, does these clickbait titles. I'll give you a recent example. He put up a title and he showed a spent brass shell on the ground, and he put on there, I recently had to fire my gun in self-defense. Watch for the story or something. And the story was some stupid shit about he heard something rustling around the back of his yard at night. And he lives in the country, and it's bear country, like Colorado, I think it is. And there's black bears or whatever around, and possibly grizzlies, I don't know. And he heard something rustling, and he heard something sound like it was coming for him, even though there was a chain link fence in his backyard between him and the thing. It was evidently a bear. But he was saying the chain link fence wouldn't have done nothing to stop the big old bear. And he fired a warning shot, I think, in the ground. And then whatever it was stopped and ran off. So it was basically a nothing burger story, as you'd expect. But he framed it as, I fired my gun in self-defense. You know what I mean? That sounds like he shot somebody, right? He fired his gun and said, no, you fired a warning shot at a critter in your backyard. You know, he made it sound like this was a self-defense, life or death. And, you know, what did he do? He made a clickbait headline. That's what he does. So if you don't, that's what everybody on YouTube does. I'm not picking on him. But if he didn't care about subs, he wouldn't put that, you know? He wouldn't put that clickbait nonsense. I fired my gun in self-defense. Click for the story. You know, and then there's some boring thing about there was a gopher in my backyard, so I fired my Glock into the ground and it ran away, you know? But he tries to plumb it up like you're thinking this is, oh my gosh, he was involved in a shooting and he had to shoot somebody that was trying to kill him, or, you know, some nonsense, you know, so you'll click. Which, like I said, so again, so why did he do that? Why did he make that video with that false clickbait title? With that, he put it on Instagram too, you know, he showed a picture of the brass on the ground. I had to fire my gun in self-defense. Why did he do that? Well, because he wanted to juice up the story a little bit to get clicks. Why did he do that? Because he wants subscribers. So again, he's lying. He's a hypocrite. He wants them. Now, he doesn't directly want subscribers again because his YouTube money is not off of ad revenue. And that's another thing I wanted to point out was that I guess his channel's probably been demonetized. I don't know how YouTube works as far as money. I never made a cent off it. I've got 56 subscribers last I looked. But as far as I know, like, gun channels are pretty much demonetized at this point. So none of them are monetized as far as I know. So they all have to be on Patreon, Amazon links, whatever. You know, I could be wrong on this. Maybe some of them aren't demonetized, but like most of the ones I watch have mentioned being demonetized before. Like, what's his name? Honest Outlaw is one that said his channel is demonetized, so on and so forth. So I just assumed that at least if it's not official, that it's kind of moving that direction, that all gun channels are demonetized. So they have to make their money through other ways, through sponsorships, through Patreons, whatever. So that's my point about this as far as subscribers, because ad revenue is not what's paying him directly. It's his Patreon that's paying him. So yes, you know, easy for him to say, I don't care about subscribers. You know, again, he's being hypocritical because subscribers don't make him money. But you know what he does care about? Patreons. Because that's what greases his palm. And he's greedy, like everybody. But, you know, try not to be a hypocrite about the fact you're greedy. Because he is being a hypocrite and he calls everybody else greedy, but of course he's not greedy. But of course in reality he is greedy, because what's his big front and center link? His front and center link is give me money. Just pointing out his hypocrisy there. Yeah, so he can to an extent not care about subs. Now you could make it's a step removed, but at the end of the day his subscribers are going to be the people who end up donating to my Patreon. So it's, you know, in a way, they are responsible for his money, and he knows that. That's why he actually does care about subs, even though he says he doesn't. But yeah, so I just wanted to point that out. And another thing is, yeah, so he can say I don't care about subs because they're not paying his bills. The Patreons are. But he's not going to say he doesn't care about Patreons. Let me tell you that. But some other things, this video is already 30 minutes. My videos are always way too long. Let me get into more about why I don't like him. One of the main reasons is because he goes after gun YouTubers and he loves to do it. He's so aggressive and annoying about it, and he's so vulgar about it. And he hates YouTubers for some reason. I don't know why. He's just a bad person, I guess, and he just likes to hate on people. But he hates particularly like Hickok 45. And like, how can you hate Hickok 45? I don't love Hickok 45 actually. There's something kind of weird about him. I don't know what it is. You know, but I mean, I like his videos and everything, don't get me wrong. But How can you hate Hickok 45? Honestly, like he hates Hickok 45. It's like how? You know, he's like this old fuddy duddy who just makes these old gosh strokes videos. So, but he's so vulgar about it too. His F words everywhere. He's so quick to F this guy, F that guy. I don't like that. That's BS. You know, he's a jerk and an idiot and a bully. You know, Yankee Marshall is a bully. And you know, like I say, he's always in the right. He's always perfect according to him, and you know, he's not. He's the only one who's not greedy. Donate to my Patreon, by the way. You know, my 90,000 a year plus that I'm making off of Patreon. But I'm not greedy, by the way. It's just, you know, free money. But yeah. So I think. Oh, and he says he doesn't like Antifa. He doesn't like BLM. Bull. He obviously has conflicting feelings. He obviously supports them to some extent. Because look at his videos about this. He has supported them to some extent. He says he supports their right to protest and these kind of things. And then he went out there apparently to the Portland chop zone, whatever thing where they took over. And I guess he was in this video, you know, and somebody slaps the phone out of his hand or something while he's shooting. And he's saying, according to Johnny B, he didn't tell you this, but he's saying, I didn't watch any of this because I'm not spending a lot of time on this dumb drama. But he's saying, apparently in the video, I'm your ally, I'm your ally. Like, don't attack me, Mr. Antifa guy, I'm your ally. Like, how does it get any clearer than that? And then he goes and says on his, you know, video right here, this Johnny B, Mr. Gun, this video, he mentions that, oh, I don't support Antifa, no, I don't support BLM. But you're on video saying, I'm your ally to BLM and Antifa, you know. So he's lying. He's a hypocrite. What it is he doesn't want you to know. He definitely has sympathies for them. Let's put it that way. Which, okay, you know, I don't agree. It's wrong, you know. Like it's his right to have sympathies for them, I guess. But they're wrong. That's where I have the problem. Like, you know, I believe BLM is wrong because there's not evidence of this massive systemic racism. It's misguided. You know, I saw some stats somewhere, Clay Travis is fond of pointing it out, that a black man, or any man I think, but a black man is more likely to go outside and die of a bee sting, statistically, than be killed by a cop. But everything about BLM is cops are committing genocide against black people. And it's not true. You know, so that's the problem I have with BLM. Not that they're fighting for their rights or whatever, that's all good. But that they're just misguided. You know, that there's not... The facts show that it's not, that their cause is misguided, you know. Again, the facts are what liberals hate, and so, you know, that's that. So yeah, back to Yankee Marshall. So he doesn't want to tick off his Patreon. That's where his money comes from. So that's who he's scared of. So he doesn't want to admit it, but he definitely has Antifa and BLM sympathies. Like I said, I just related you the anecdote that proves it. When the guy, the Antifa or whatever, slapped his phone out of his hand at the chop house, the chop yard, whatever the heck it was called, he said over and over, according to Johnny B, and I believe that because I think it's on video, I'm your ally. Why are you slapping the phone out of my hand? I'm your ally. You know, what? And I'm sure he'd say, well, I'm just their ally in the sense that I support the right to protest. You know, he's going to try to wiggle it. No, you said I'm their ally, you know. Anyways, oh, and what I wanted to harshly criticize him again on, and the one thing that's really annoying about him that I don't like, is that he hates the NRA, okay? And I didn't even know that there's this big anti-NRA thing on YouTube gun channels until I started watching them a few years ago. You know, before then I just, you know, assumed, hey, the NRA does. But I didn't know there's this big, like, the NRA is like almost as hated as Glock or something on YouTube gun channels. Which is that the NRA is too soft or something, I guess. And that they're not pro-Second Amendment enough or something. And Yankee Marshall is big on this, and he despises the NRA, like viciously hates them. And I hate that because you know why? Because there are some people who are legitimate with those types of things, but more of the people are trying to defeat whatever they're complaining about. So what Yankee Marshall is doing is he's trying to take away your gun rights by not supporting the NRA, because the biggest most effective lobbying organization we have is the NRA. And if you want to support somebody else too, or you don't want to support them or whatever, that's fine. But the fact, this is how I portray it. Like every year, there's like a libertarian candidate for president, right? And every year, he's not going to win. So every year, it comes down to the Republican and the Democrat. And there's a certain amount of Republicans who will always be like, well, I'm voting for the libertarian because it's Republican. He's not, conservative enough. And he doesn't support, like, doing away with all income taxes or whatever nonsense they're pimping. But I hate those people because you know why? What they're doing is helping the Democrat win, because when they go and vote for the Libertarian and not the Republican, the Libertarian has no chance of winning. And these people won't listen. They'll be like, well, I'd rather vote for somebody I can believe in, blah, blah, blah. To an extent, that can be true. And there's cases where I do it too. Like if I find the Republican unacceptable to vote for morally or whatever, I would vote for the Libertarian, or I don't vote anyway, so. But, and just because it's hard for me to like mentally wrap my head around the fact that my vote doesn't matter because there's like 500 million votes. But that's my own personal weirdness. But yeah, getting back to all this, like I hate those people that pull this nonsense on the right of, well, I'm not supporting the thing on the right that has a chance to win because X, Y. At some point, I have to call a spade a spade. You're our enemy. If you're sitting here trying to tear down the NRA because they're not gun rightsy enough, at some point you're our enemy, and you are trying to help the left take our guns. Period. Yankee Marshall. It's like I said, it's the same as what if there's a situation, a hypothetical, where there's a Democrat who wants to take your guns, there's a Republican who wants to preserve your gun rights, and there's a Libertarian who wants to really, really preserve all your gun rights, but and say that there's no license. And so let's say there's a gun owner who's going to cast the deciding vote, and if the Democrat wins, they're going to immediately ban all semi-automatic rifles. Okay. And if the Republican wins, it's going to be, pretty much the same way as things are, but he's going to try to defend gun rights. And if the Libertarian wins, he says he's going to try to remove all restrictions on gun ownership, okay? Which, of course, as president, you don't have power to do anyway. But, so, let's say that scenario. So, and you've got a gun owner, and let's say, again, this is impossible, but you are the deciding vote. Who are you voting for? Oh, but I mean, if you vote for the Libertarian, the Democrat wins. If you vote for the Republican, the Republican wins. Okay? Frame it like that. So you got a choice. What do you do? If you vote for that Libertarian, you voted against gun rights, period. Because that means your guns are going to get taken away, period. And it's the same with these people that, I vote for the Libertarian candidate for president because, he's morally pure. Well, Libertarians are nuts anyway, kind of. A lot of them. So, but it's the same with Yankee Marshall. He's out there fighting so hard against the NRA. You know what? Maybe the NRA is not the most pure on gun rights all the time. But I'm not dumb enough to think they're not the most effective tool that we have. And he is an idiot, and he's anti-gun rights, and he's trying to take your guns. Yankee Marshall is trying to take your guns when he goes with this anti-NRA crap. Because I know somebody's motivations, And I know his motivation is not to protect the Second Amendment. I know his motivation is to be a jerk. And Yankee Marshall is trying to take your guns. I'm telling you right now. Look at his face, And he says, everybody else is based on fear. I guess, he's going to say I'm based on fear. Well, okay, why can't we say he's based on fear? Because he's all out there, I'm a real Second Amendment. I'm really trying to protect the Second. So he's fear-based because he's trying to say people are trying to take your guns and I'm trying to protect them. Well, then you're fear-based, Yankee Marshall. Anything trying to protect the Second Amendment could be portrayed as fear-based, according to that logic, because we're afraid of getting our guns taken away. So yeah, those are my problems with him. Like I said, I do not accept him hating the NRA. I think he's actively working against gun rights, and I think he's actively in favor of banning guns, though he'll never say it. I think he has sympathies with Antifa and BLM, which, he's a nut anyway, whatever. And he's greedy. Those are the main points I wanted to make. But I still watch his channel because he's entertaining when he talks about guns.